This video is sponsored by PTCGLstore.com, a great place for you to buy Pokemon TCG code cards. Please remember to use my code NIGHT22 at checkout so that you can get a 5% discount. Thank you guys so much for your support and for your supporting PTCGLstore.com. Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showcasing Magmortar from the Journey Together expansion set. What makes Magmortar awesome is its ability Magma Surge. During Pokemon checkup, put 3 more damage counters on your opponent's burnt Pokemon. Since this ability stacks with a maximum of 4 copies of Magmortar in your build, you can actually add anywhere from 3 to 12 burn damage counters between Pokemon checkup. And again, this is in addition to the initial 2 burn damage. And Magmortar's attack is actually worth noting as well. For 2 fire and 1 colorless energy, Searing Flame deals 90 damage. You also get to flip a coin. If it's heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burnt. So its ability actually works hand in hand with its attack. And you can also power up its attack with the reversal energy. In case your opponent has taken more prizes than you, it will activate as 3 energies of every type while attached to your evolution non-rule box Pokemon. But relying on Magmortar's attack to inflict burn will not always be a guarantee, since it depends on the success of your coin flip. And this is where VOLCANION EX comes in. It has a Scalding Steam ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burnt. Thanks to its ability, you can now guarantee that burn condition on your opponent's active Pokemon. So now with VOLCANION EX's instant burn and the Magmortars to increase burn damage, you'll be dealing a lot of burn damage. The downside to VOLCANION though is its high retreat cost of 3. Thankfully though, we have a lot of switching cards in this deck, such as Latias EX with the Skyliner ability, which gives all of your basic Pokemon with no retreat cost. Surfer to switch your Pokemon from the bench to the active, and also allowing you to draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. And we also have Jet Energy. If you attach this to one of your bench Pokemon, you have to switch that Pokemon into your active spot. And of course, we also have a full set of our regular switches. As you switch your VOLCANION EX back to your bench though, I think it's more useful to just promote your Badoo into the active spot. Thanks to its Itchy Pollen attack, you can item lock your opponent. Since this prevents your opponent from using item cards, this may just prevent them from using Switch so they cannot retreat their burnt Pokemon. As for my spec card, I'll be using Precious Trolley. This allows you to search your deck for as many basic Pokemon as you want and put them straight to your bench. I think this is really great because you do want to set up as much of your Magmars as you can. This way you may just be able to evolve multiple copies into Magmortars right away, and then increase that burn damage as soon as possible. Relying on burn alone though may not win you games, and I've seen a lot of builds that doesn't even use any fire energies, but I did include a few in this deck so that we can possibly use VOLCANION EX's attack as well. For 2 fire and 1 colorless energy, Scorching Cyclone deals 160 damage, after which you move 1 energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. And late game, we can also use Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Thanks to its Season Skill ability, it reduces the energy cost for its Blood Moon attack by 1 colorless energy for each prize your opponent has already taken. So by the time your opponent has taken 5 prizes, you can even attack for 0 energy, and his Blood Moon attack can deal 240 damage. Combine this attack with burn damage, you even have that potential to knock out any Pokemon in the game within a single turn. Additionally, we also have the Gravity Mountain Stadium to reduce HP of Stage 2 Pokemon by 30 HP. It will be a lot easier for you to take down even the bulkiest Stage 2 Pokemon in the game. At first, I was very pessimistic about this whole burn combo since your opponent gets to flip a coin every Pokemon checkup, and if they get heads, the burn condition is removed anyways. But after playing this build, I was pleasantly surprised at how well the combo worked, since the burn still guaranteed you damage against your opponent's Pokemon, and it adds to the overall damage, especially when you can also attack. I do think this deck has some potential, but not quite at that competitive level just yet. Overall though, it's still a very fun build to try out. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Magmortar with VOLCANION EX. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video, and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. Alright, on to our first match. I think I'm going to start this one with Fastendipity EX in the active spot. We also have Magmar to go on our bench. And we have a pretty decent opening hand. We can search for more Pokemon. Of course, we have Professor's Research to draw into more cards. And we're going against Dragapult EX with Charizard EX. This is going to be a tough matchup, but we're gonna do our best. With the Nuzball, I'm gonna get Magmar. You always want to set up as much Magmars as you can, because you have to evolve them into your Magmortars, and that's gonna increase our burn damage. With the Ultra Ball, I'm gonna get Volcanion EX. We can switch it with the Jet Energy, and we can start using its ability to burn our opponent's active Pokemon. And I'm just gonna end my turn here. And again, the burn damage deals 2 damage counters every Pokemon checkup. However, your opponent gets to flip a coin. If it's heads, the burn condition goes away. But thankfully, they flip tails, so they will retain that burn condition. They're going to use Arven to search their deck for an item card and a tool card. Okay, we saw a Nest Ball and Handheld Fan. They're going to search for a basic Pokemon. And they're going to grab Mimikyu. So Mimikyu has the Safeguard ability. We can't damage it with Volcanion EX's attack. However, we can still inflict the burn with its ability. So we could knock it out that way. Alright, my opponent will retreat their Dreepy. That will take out the burn. And they're going to promote their Mimikyu in the active spot. And they're just going to end their turn. Alright. Let's go ahead and use Professor's Research. Draw into 7 cards. We got Magmortar. Alright, cool. So now we can increase our burn damage. And we have Ultra Ball. I'm going to attach the energy. I could get another Magmortar here to potentially knock out their Mimikyu with just burn. However, they could just evolve into Dragapult EX or Charizard EX. And we don't want that. So I think I'm going to take it slow. I'll discard these 2 and I'm gonna get Badoo instead. So we need the switch. Let's burn Mimikyu first. And then we can item lock our opponent with Itchy Pollen, dealing 10 damage to their Mimikyu. Not quite enough to knock it out, but that's fine. And they got Tails again. Alright, they will continue to retain that burn. And the fire seems to be getting even stronger. Next turn, we have Iono to draw into more cards. They will evolve into Dracloak. Thanks to the item lock, they can't use Rare Candy to evolve straight into Dragapult EX or their Charizard EX. So hopefully, that will buy us some time while we knock out their Pokemon. And all of their Pokemon is still within knockout range of the burn. They're going to use Crispin to grab 2 cards from their deck. 2 energy cards, that is. They attached 1, and then the fire energy they attached for turn. So now their Dracloak is fully energized, but they're just gonna pass. Alright. Well, the burn finished off Mimikyu. We get our first prize. We got another Iono, and they're gonna promote Charmander. We don't have a lot of options here. I'm gonna use Foul Pad to recover our supporter cards, and I'm gonna use Iono. I just hope they don't draw into Dragapult EX. We can use Nest Ball to get another Magmar. That will thin out our deck even further. And I could use Jet Energy on Volcanion EX and then just retreat it. That way we can burn their Charmander with Scalding Steam, retreat back to Badoo, and we're gonna continue with the item lock. Although I should have just retreated Badoo and then used Jet Energy on Badoo to put it back to the active. So, I mean, well, we'll just deal with it, I guess. That was a little bit of a blunder. We could have kept the energies on Volcanion EX, but that's that. So my opponent evolved into Charmeleon, effectively removing the burn condition. All the while, they're using the Recon Directive with Dracloak, increasing their consistency. But they can't use any item cards, so even if they have Ultra Ball or Terra Orb or whatever, they can't search for their evolution Pokemon. Oh, they didn't get it! Alright, cool. So, we are still safe. I'm gonna retreat into Volcanion EX, continue to burn their Charmeleon, switch back with Surfer, and then we got another Magmortar from our draw. Look at that. So now we're increasing the burn to 8 damage counters every Pokemon checkup. We'll attack with Badoo, item locking them, And the burn actually finished off their Charmeleon. So even if they have Serendipity EX, they will not be able to draw into more cards with the Flip the Script ability. But they still have Recon Directive. Can they find Dragapult EX to evolve? That's the question. No, they're just gonna attack. So Badoo gets knocked out, and you know what, guys? That is the power of the item lock with Badoo and the burn condition. Well, let's go ahead and just burn their Dracloak and our turn, and that burn will knock it out, getting our last prize. Well, they don't have any more Pokemon to switch into, and that will win us the game. Alright, good game. Alright, let's move on to our second match. And I will start with Volcanion EX in the active spot. We have Magmar on our bench, and my opponent will be going first. And they're going to start with Quaxly in their active spot. We are weak against water though, so this is going to be very dangerous. Okay, we're going against Mamoswine EX. Now it's our turn. We got Badoo. Let's go ahead and use Arven. I'm going to get Precious Trolley. There it is. We can set up 3 more basic Pokemon on our bench. I'm going to get 2 Magmars and a Latias EX. That's going to make it easier for us to retreat our basic Pokemon. But first, let's use Scalding Steam to burn Quaxly. I'll attach an energy, retreat into Badoo, and we're going to item lock our opponent. Again, my opponent gets to flip a coin. They got heads, so now the burn condition goes away. But at least they're item locked. They can't use Rare Candy to evolve into their Stage 2s. Because if you didn't know, Mamoswine EX's attack increases the more Stage 2 Pokemon they have in play. I'm going to use Arven to get Rare Candy and TM Evolution. Okay. They will evolve into Piloswine. Another one. They had all of that in their hands, so they're still evolving slowly but surely. So now it's our turn. I'm going to go ahead and retreat into Volcanion. Continue to burn their Quaxly. And I'm going to use Surfer. Draw 2. Ooh, we got 2 Ultra Balls. Look at that. Let's go ahead and discard these 2. At least we can get 1 Magmortar evolved here. And then I'm just going to item lock. So at least the burn condition will take into effect at 5 damage counters. That knocked out Quaxly, while also item locking my opponent. So unless they have a Mamoswine EX, which they do, they fully evolve into Mamoswine EX. They still need 2 fighting energies to fully energize their Mamoswine EX to attack. So we should still be okay. We're gonna use Iono. Hopefully we can draw into more Magmortars here. Okay, we got 1. And they're gonna continue to try and set up their Quaxly. They have Artisan. Mammoth Holler allows them to find any Pokemon from their deck, and we did knock out one of their Pokemon. They are behind on prices, so they use the Swelling Flash ability to put it into play. Alright. Well, let's evolve into Magmortar. And then I can Boss's Orders their Quaxly. Retreat into Volcanion EX. Burn it. And we're dealing 8 damage counters every Pokemon. Checkup with the burn. And then I'll have to use Jet Energy to put Badoo back into the active. And we're just gonna item lock them once again. Thankfully, Badoo's attack doesn't knock out their Quaxly. The burn does that. And even if they have Serendipity EX, they will not be able to draw into more cards. But they have another energy to fully energize their Mamoswine EX. Now they can start attacking. And slowly but surely, they're going to try and evolve into Quaquaval. So they have the stage 1 already set up. They have another Mamoswine EX. They're going to knock out our Badoo. Our opponent will get their first prize. Okay. Well, Mamoswine EX has a lot of HP, so
we'll have to rely on the burn condition to deal massive damage. So I'm just gonna use Artisan to set up another Badoo. Discard these two, and I'll get my final Magmortar to evolve on my bench. Retreat into Volcanion EX to burn their Mamoswine EX. Now we're dealing 11 burn damage. That's insane. And we got Gravity Mountain. I'll just use Itchy Pollen for now to item lock my opponent again. And then the 11 damage counters. And they got tailed, so they will retain that burn condition. Look at that. Despite the high HP of Mamoswine EX, it is weak against the burn condition. So finally, my opponent gets to evolve into their Quaquaval Ball. We can use Artisan to set up another Quaxly. Okay. And they're going to retreat their Mamoswine EX into another one. Okay, they're getting ready to evolve into another Quaquaval Ball. And okay. Up tempo. So that one allows them to draw into more cards. They're gonna use Iono. And they're gonna attach an energy to their active. I think they have the Quaquaval that can accelerate an energy from their hand. But with not enough energy on their active Mamoswine EX, they could not attack. So I'm gonna retreat into Volcanion EX. Use Scalding Steam again to burn them. And then I'm gonna use Palpad to recover these two. Switch Badoo back into the active. And Mamoswine EX is weak against grass, so we're actually dealing 20 damage. Or 0 for that. I forgot about the rock chest plate. So they finally got heads. The burn goes away, but not after getting the initial 11 damage counters. Slowly though, we are energizing our Volcanion EX so we can even attack with it and hopefully take a knockout against their Mamoswine EX. Again, my opponent will use Iono. Okay, we got boss orders, so we can target either one of these guys. And we also have our Blood Moon Ursaluna as our last attacker. So they knocked out Badoo once again. Gonna promote our Volcanion EX into the active. So what I could do is burn their Mamoswine EX. We just need another Fire Energy. We have Night Stretcher, but we have no energy in the discard pile. I could get Pheasantipity EX. Maybe we can draw into a Fire Energy. Flip the script. Ooh, we got it! Look at that! We got the Fire Energy. Now let's go ahead and burn this guy. We can attach the Fire Energy. And we're dealing 130 damage. Despite the defense, the burn will take care of it. We can transfer a Fire Energy to Magmortar. The burn takes care of Mamoswine EX, getting us another 2 prizes. Look at that. That burn is pretty annoying, I gotta admit. Even if your opponent gets to flip heads, the initial burn will deal damage to their Pokemon. And the Rock Chest Plate, I mean, it did reduce our attack damage output, but it wasn't enough to keep their Mamoswine EX alive. So this one has Energy Carnival. So that's the other Quaquaval that can accelerate energy from their hand to one of their Pokemon. So they have one to help them draw into more cards and another one to help them accelerate an energy. I actually had a viewer comment on this type of combo. Like I said, Mamoswine EX has a lot of different variations you can play with. A lot of stage 2s in the game that you can mix with Mamoswine EX. And they're gonna attack with Rumbling March. With all that stage 2, they're dealing 340 damage. So this is all or nothing. If we don't win it this turn, my opponent can get it. But we drew into Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. And all we have to do is attach an energy here to be able to attack. And we even have Gravity Mountain to reduce their HP. And we're just going to attack with Blood Moon, knocking out their Mamoswine EX to get us our last 2 prizes to win the game. Look at that. Good game. Alright, on to our third match. Ooh, we're going to start with Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Not what you want to see, but that's fine. We'll keep it in play, and then we'll just set up our other basic Pokemon. We have Jet Energy to switch it out anyways, and other switching options. We got Latias EX. Let's go ahead and use our Nest Ball, get a Magmar, and then I can use Ultra Ball to get rid of these 2. Get another Magmar, and I'm just gonna end my turn. So my opponent will start with Mew EX in their active. They also have Monkey Dory on their bench. It has the Adrena Brain ability. If it has a Dark Energy attached, they can transfer damage counters from one of their Pokemon to ours. So with a burn condition slowly eating away at our opponent's Pokemon, they could transfer those damage to ours. So we have to watch out for that. They used Iono, but we got Volcanion EX from that and a bunch of switch, so I'm okay with that. So with Budbitty Poffin, they're gonna set up Badoo and Ralts, and they're gonna item lock us with Badoo. So now we can't use item cards, but thankfully we got Latias EX, so we can freely retreat our Blood Moon Ursaluna, and we're gonna use Iono. And we got Jet Energy, look at that. And we can evolve into Magmortar. So we can definitely knock out this Badoo with just the burn condition. And then I'm going to use Jet Energy on Blood Moon Ursaluna because it has more HP. Just in case my opponent can attack or something like that, we can possibly just absorb the damage. And that will also preserve our Volcanion EX alive. So now it's our opponent's turn. So they're using Gardevoir EX most likely, and this is a pretty dangerous build to go against actually, because I don't know if they're using Screamtail or perhaps the Balloon, which can deal a lot of damage. They also have Lillie's Clefairy. Okay. Thankfully, we're not using any Dragon type. And they also have Hero's Cape to add 100 HP to their Clefairy. And there it is. They finally used Rare Candy. They found Gardevoir EX. And with enough energies, they can fully power up their Clefairy and start dealing some massive damage. So Clefairy EX can deal 20 plus damage, I think, and 20 more damage for each Pokemon from both players' bench. So as of right now, they're hitting for 180? 180. No, 200, because that's 20 plus 20 more for each Pokemon on each player's bench. So now they have fully energized Lillie's Clefairy EX. They're going to use Counter Catcher to target our Latias EX. And with the Adrena Brain, they can transfer damage, and that's going to knock out our Latias EX. Because again, they're only dealing 200 damage. We would have survived with 10 HP, but no. The Adrena Brain did their trick, and they will knock out our Latias EX, getting them their first 2 prizes. Well, with the extra HP, this is going to be a lot tougher for us to knock out this Clefairy, but we're going to do our best. We're going to use Scalding Steam. We're dealing 8 damage counters each Pokemon. Check up with the burn. And let's go ahead and set up Latias EX, because we need to retreat our Volcanion. And we got another Magmortar. Okay. Let's go ahead and evolve this. Now they are getting 11 damage counters with the burn. But we have no attackers. I could just retreat into Blood Moon again. But I think I'm going to retreat into Magmortar. We have Reversal Energy, and we can use Searing Flame to deal 90 damage. And we got heads, but my opponent's Pokemon is already burned, so it doesn't really matter. And they got heads between Pokemon checkup, so the burn goes away. So I didn't want to take the risk of my opponent knocking out another 2-prizer, so I just risked Magmortar. And even if they knock it out, they're just gonna get 1 prize. But this is not looking good. My opponent has another Monkey Dory. So now they can transfer up to 6 damage counters from this Clefairy EX to our Pokemon. So with Crispin, they were able to get 2 energies. They had another Dark Energy to attach to their Monkey Dory. Well, this is not looking good. And they're setting up for Blood Moon Ursaluna. Alright, so it is within knockout range of Clefairy now. Especially both players have a full bench. And they're just gonna take a knockout against Magmortar. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and get our Volcanion EX in the active again. And we're just gonna burn this guy. So it has 150 HP. I need Super Rod to recover my Magmortar lineup again. And with this Nuzball, I think I'm gonna get another Volcanion EX. But most likely they're just gonna target my Ursaluna, to be honest with you, but let's go ahead and Jet Energy, because my opponent has taken a lot of prizes already anyway, so I'll just risk it. Take a knockout against this Clefairy. Use Blood Moon, take it out. And we get 2 more prizes for that. So, at least if my opponent knocks it out, they're only taking 2 prizes, so they still need to take 1 more after that. Unless they can set up another Clefairy or something. And if it's fully energized with this Gardevoir EX, I think that's gonna be it. Yeah, after rotation, Gardevoir EX lost Curlia, the one that can draw and discard cards, but Gardevoir EX is still pretty good post-rotation. With the right cards, the right combination, is still actually a really deadly Pokemon build to go against. So my opponent will fully energize their Gardevoir EX. It doesn't look like they have another attacker that they can use to attack. So they're just going to damage their Gardevoir, all the while transferring those damage counters with their Monkey Dory. And they're going to go for boss's orders to target Latias EX. Alright, they're just gonna attack with Gardevoir EX. Alright, well, yeah, I think we could do this. Let's go ahead and use our Scalding Steam to burn their Gardevoir EX. Discard these 2 to get Fezandipity EX. We can draw into more cards. Or actually, yeah, let's go ahead and use Flip the Script. Okay, we got Super Rod. I'm gonna get Latias EX and another Magmortar lineup just in case. And then I'm gonna switch that. I'm just reducing my hand, and then with the Surfer, we can switch into Blood Moon Ursaluna, deal some damage. The burn knocks out their Gardevoir EX. We get 2 more prizes. So it's either my opponent has it or they don't, right? At least without Gardevoir EX, they have no other way to accelerate energies unless they have another Crispin. They need another Dark Energy. They can fully power up Mew EX and copy Blood Moon Ursaluna's attack to knock out our Pokemon, and that's gonna be it. But I think Blood Moon Ursaluna's attack is the only attack they can use to copy with Mew EX to actually get a knockout here. They're gonna set up another Lillie's Clefairy EX, but again with no... Oh, they have Crispin, but no energies. Uh-oh. Oh, and my opponent can see it. Alright, I'll take it. Good game. On to our final match. I had 2 mulligan once, but now we're starting with Bidoof in the active. We also have Magmar on our bench. And we are going first in this matchup. Okay, we drew into a Magmar. I'll take that. We have Nest Ball. Let's go ahead and get Volcanion EX. Or actually, let me maximize my Magmortar lineup. So I'll get another Magmar set up on my bench. And I'm just gonna end my turn here. Unfortunately, I can't item lock my opponent just yet. We cannot attack on our first turn. We're gonna set up Hops, Snorlax on their bench. Okay. Gonna boss my Magmar in the active. They have Postwick Stadium, so we're going against Hops, Zacian EX. They're also playing Metal Energy, so they could be attacking with Zacian. Gonna draw more cards with Squawkabilly EX, and they have Duraludon. So this is the combination of Archaludon EX with Hops Zacian EX. We're gonna attack with Duraludon, dealing 30 damage to our Magmar. So now it's our turn. We got TM Evolution. Let's go ahead and just get Volcanion EX with this Ultra Ball first. Attach this, and then I can use Surfer. I'll switch Bidoof in the active for now. We got an energy. Alright, we can actually use the TM Evolution this turn. And then replace their stadium. We got Precious Trolley. At least we can set up one more basic Pokemon on our bench. So I'll get another Magmar. And then I'm gonna retreat. Let's go ahead and use Scalding Steam first to burn their Duraludon. And then we can use TM Evolution to evolve into 2 of our Magmortars. And that will actually effectively increase the burn damage against our opponent's active between Pokemon Checkup to 8 damage counters. However, they flipped heads, so that actually removes the burn condition from their Duraludon. But at least we dealt 8 damage counters already. So, I mean, that's something. So finally, my opponent has set up their Hops Zacian EX. If they switch, at least our Volcanion EX should be able to survive. However, if they evolve into Archaludon EX, and if they have energies in the discard pile, they can actually knock out Volcanion EX, because it can deal 220 base damage. And there it is! Archaludon EX evolves, that activates the ability, fully energizing it, and it dealt 220 damage, exactly what it needed to knock out Volcanion EX. So my opponent gets their first 2 prizes, and I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna go ahead and use Arven. I mean, I can continue to burn my opponent's Archaludon, I guess. Go ahead and use Nest Ball, get Festivity EX. If I can get Reversal Energy, that would be awesome, but nope, we did not get it. I can stall with Counter Catcher. I can start energizing my Magmortar, I guess. Let me go ahead and just stall a little bit. Counter Catcher their Snorlax. Item lock them with Bidoof. Hopefully this will buy us some time to set up our other Pokemon. Alright, they're just gonna pass. Okay, cool. They could still attack with Snorlax though, so we have to hurry this up. I'm gonna use Professor's Research. I can attach one more energy to Magmortar. And I'm just gonna Itchy Pollen one more time. I have boss's orders. 220. We're hitting 90 damage times 2. We're only dealing 180 damage. So we can't even knock out their Duraludon even with Magmortar. But if we flip a coin, if it's heads, if we burn Duraludon EX, we could knock it out. But it's a huge risk. So I'm gonna use Itchy Pollen one more time. We need one more energy to our Magmortar anyways. You're gonna boss my Magmortar. That's fine, we have Jet Energy. And we got Reversal Energy as well. Okay. I can live with that. But we have no more space for Volcanion EX. But I can get another Magmortar. This is the last one. One is prized, so yeah, this is I could take a chance. With a coin flip, we can burn their Archaludon, but we'll see. I'll use Reversal Energy. Searing Flame, here we go. 180 damage. Come on, burn. Oh, but we failed. Okay, we got Tails. And that's why Volcanion EX is pretty much essential to this build, if you really want to focus on that burn condition. Because with Magmortar, it's a coin flip. You can get Tails, and then you just fail it, and you lose that burn condition. We could have knocked out this Archaludon EX already. I just hope they don't have Professor Turo. Oh! Or that. So they have Scoop Up Cyclone, completely removing their Archaludon EX from play, despite the huge damage that we dealt. We couldn't knock it out, and we missed out on that knockout. Well, at least we're still behind on prizes. I could just continue to attack, I guess. Let me use Palpad to recover boss orders and Surfer. I'm gonna use Iono. And we got Volcanion. Okay. More Reversal Energies. Let me go ahead and use Searing Flames again. Come on. Oh, we got Burn. Alright. Nice. With 11 damage counters, that actually knocked out their Squawkabilly EX to get us our first 2 prizes, and we got another Magmortar. Look at that. I can live with that. Alright. Alright. Well, we got a knockout with that. We got a knockout with Magmortar, guys. That's awesome. And that's what I like about my build, is because we can also attack with Magmortar as well as with Volcanion EX. Some of the other builds that I've seen doesn't use any other energies other than Jet Energy. They just want to burn. But I think this is a lot better. So, without being able to evolve into Archaludon, they just attack for 30 damage. However, our Reversal Energy is no longer in effect, and we don't have any more Switch. Most of them are prized. What? Well, we can't attack with Magmortar now. That's not good. Let me just get Super Rod, I guess. I can recover these 3. And then... I mean, I can retreat Magmortar. I can just attach the Reversal Energy, but then again... I could switch into Badoo. Yeah, maybe I can item lock my opponent. I'm not dealing any damage to their Duraludon because it has resistance to grass, but at least we are item locking our opponent. That might slow them down. If they have Ultra Ball, they can't use it to get Archaludon. So hopefully it will get stuck in the active. They can attack, knock out my Badoo, but once they've taken more prizes than we have, a Reversal Energy will once again take into effect. so we can continue to attack. But they're gonna use Penny to remove their Duraludon into another Duraludon. Okay. Alright. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, they're just gonna attack. Knock out our Badoo. They get another prize. But again, that will activate Reversal Energy. Yeah, let me use this one. This one already has damage anyways. And then I can use Flip the Scripts. Okay. I can put Volcanion EX in play. See, if I knock out this Duraludon, I'm only taking one prize, but I guess I'm just gonna take it. I'll use Iono. Disrupt my opponent's hand. And we got boss orders. Okay. Yeah, I'll just knock out their Duraludon for now. Alright, we gotta switch. What's gonna happen here though is if my opponent knocks out Magmortar, they're gonna get a prize, and along the way, if they can knock out one of my two prizers, Phasandipity or Volcanion, my opponent will just win the game. So this is a little bit of a dangerous situation that we're in, but we really have little choice. They have two Metal Energies in the discard pile. They evolved into Archaludon EX. Again, they're going to continue with the knockout, and they're going to, I guess, remove Zacian EX. It is a liability because it is weak against metal. And once again, Archaludon EX takes a knockout. Despite Archaludon EX being weak to fire, again, the attack nullifies that weakness. So I'm just gonna go ahead with a burn. They have two prizes remaining. Let me use Flip the Script here. We got Blood Moon Ursaluna. I can actually take a knockout against this Archaludon EX. But the burn will finish it off, not the attack. So I think we might be able to disrupt them. I wish I had an Iono now. Yeah, let's just go ahead and attack with Blood Moon. 240 damage plus the burn. That will knock out their Archaludon. We'll take two prizes. And we got boss's orders. Okay, well, even if they evolve into Archaludon, as long as they don't have boss orders, they can't use Flip the Script because we didn't knock out their Pokemon during our turn. It was during Pokemon checkup. So they can attack with Archaludon. They're not gonna knock out my Blood Moon Ursaluna. Just hope they don't have a boss orders. They have one in the discard pile. So Counter Catcher will also do, but no, they're gonna go with Night Stretcher. But they might have one in their hand already, so I'm pretty scared here. They can actually just win this one. But if they don't... No, they're gonna go for Metal Defender. Our Blood Moon Ursaluna survives. And we have boss's orders. I can knock out their Phasandipity EX, but let's just actually make it easier on us. I'll just get this Duraludon. And you know what, guys? We're gonna finish this off using Magmortar to knock out. And there it is, my opponent concedes.
And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.